Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to see looping statements in Python. Why do we need a looping statement first of all? So this is an example of a sequential execution. All the statements are executed one after the other. But at sometimes, we may want to execute certain statements repeatedly based on some condition. In that case, we need to go for loop. So this is a generic flowchart for a loop statement. You have some statements and then control comes to the condition is executed or evaluated, and if the condition is found to be true, a true block will be executed, and then control is again verified or evaluated. So this true block will be executed as long as the condition is true. Once the condition becomes false, this false block, if it exists, it may be executed, and then control comes to the next statement following the loop. There are two types of looping statements available in Python. One is while, and you have a while else. Here else is an optional. You have a for statement or you can have a for else statement. In all other programming languages like C, C++, you have while loop, repeat until, or for loop. Only in the if statement you have an else here, else. But in Python, the else is associated with the if as well as with the while and for. So the else part is for executing the false block if the condition becomes false. We'll see the syntax of while and then for statement. While expression, you can have one or more statements, else colon one or more statements. This I just call it as a block of statements. In C or C++ or in any other languages, you have some explicit opening and closing of the block. For example, in C you have got to open curly braces and close curly braces. In some languages you have got a begin or an end. But in Python, the statements must be uniformly indented to show that they belong to one block of statements. Similarly, you can see that the else part can have one or more statements, all must be uniformly indented. Now coming to this expression, the expression may evaluate to true or false. You can also have some numbers here. You can also have a string here. In that case, it means all non-zero, not null or non-empty objects will be true. The false value stands for a zero number or a null value or a null string. So if the expression evaluates to true, the statements in the loop body or a true block will be executed, and it will be executed as long as the expression is true. Once the expression becomes false, the else class will be executed. On completing the while loop, control will come to the statement following the while loop. This else and the statements may be optional. We'll see some examples here. To see the codes more visible, I'm just going to zoom the code. Here we have a simple while statement, x is equal to 6 while x. So since x has got the value 6, this expression evaluates to true. In that case, the statements with the same indentation forms the block. That means these two statements will be executed as long as x is non-zero. So while entering x has got the value 6, it will be printed. X is decremented and then x value is checked. So these two statements will be printed till x equal to 0. We'll execute that code snippet. You can see that 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When x becomes 0, control comes out of the loop. Suppose I have this X not indented properly. What happens now? You can see that 6 is being printed because only one statement is in the while loop and the value of X is not decremented. X remains to be 6 and it keeps on executing. So we'll stop this execution here. Okay, what happens when I indent it further? So I'll execute this code snippet. You get an indentation error. So all the statements must be uniformly indented. If there is a decrease in an indent, that means that statement forms a other block. Now coming here, I have an else part here. I just run this code. X value is equal to 0. So while X is equal to 0, else part will be printed. Here it says I am here since X evaluates to false. What happens here? These two statements will be repeatedly executed till X is equal to 0, till it becomes 0. Once it becomes 0, the else part is executed. So done is being printed here. Now I have the list. You have a list of 3 elements while L. So this loop will be repeated until the list becomes empty. And then I am trying to print that L. So the pop will take the last element and then it will print. You can see that blue is being printed, green, red, and the L becomes empty now. So control comes out of that. Now it is trying to print the empty list. Here I say while true. So that means this statement will be repeatedly executed since there is no way in which the true can become a false. So I have to stop this. Now we see an example of a string while x. So here it will print the whole x and then I am using a slicing operator to remove the first element. So when I have x of 1 colon, that means the elements from starting from 1 till the end is sliced and stored in x again. We will see the result. You can see that in the first instant x is equal to blue star, so it gets printed. Now I have used the slicing operator to remove the 0th character. I have got LUE star. Then I am removing the L. So the first element is kept, first character is being removed. And when all the characters are removed, control comes out. Now we'll see the other example for else syntax. So for variable in iterable colon a loop body, else you have another loop body. This I can call it as an else class. This is an iterable. Tuple, list, string can be an iterable. So the variable will take element from this iterable, one element at a time, and the statements will be executed for each item in the iterable. So this will be kept on executing till all the objects in this iterable are taken by the variable, and once the iterable is exhausted, this statement is executed. Here you can see that the iterable will not be changed, but each item or each item will be stored in variable and the statements will be executed. We'll just see the example. Now I have got a list and then I am just printing that list and then I am using a for loop to iterate over all the elements here and then I am printing that x. So these items are, since I have given an end is equal to space, all the elements are printed in the same line. Suppose I remove this. So the elements are printed one after the other. So what will happen if I try to print the colors? Here you can see that colors list has not changed, but that X takes the value one at a time and execute the block. This is iterating over a string. So each character is taken and then it gets printed. Now we'll see the range for with the range. So the range, you know that range of 7 will give a value from 0 to 6. So the X takes values from 0 to 6 and then in the block I just print that. So 0 to 6 value is printed. If I give range of 3, that means 0, 1, 2. X will take a value 0 and then X will take a value 1 and then X will take a value 2. So when it takes 3 values, I am just printing the hello. So the hello is printed 3 times. Now when I give a range 2, 7, X takes the value 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. You can see that starting from 2 to 6, X value is printed. Now the same X with the list, I am using an else part. So the X value will be printed. X will take one element from the list and gets printed, and after exhausting all the elements in the colors, that print done is happening. This is an interesting example. I have a sublist, 3 sublists inside a list. To print all the elements, I use a nested for loop for sublist in list. Here you can see that I have got 3 sublists. So this for will be running 3 times. And then for each element in the sublist, I am printing the number. Suppose I don't have this. Okay, just make this as a comment. And then I am trying to print the sublist. You can see that 3 sublists are being printed one after the other. If I want an individual elements, I have to use another for loop, and in this place I have to use the number. Similarly, I can do it for a list of tuples. Since I have got 2 elements and I want to get both the elements, I am using a tuple here for a, b in t. So we'll just see how it gets printed. So you can see that the first element is taken, a is assigned the value 1, b is assigned the value 2. It's being printed. 3, 4 and 5, 6 is being printed. This I can just take it as x and then here I can just print it as x. What happens now? So x takes the value as it is. This is the first element, this is the second element, this is the third element. But if I give it like this, a, b, then in the first element, 1 is assigned to a, 2 is assigned to b. Similarly, I can do this for a dictionary. So in a dictionary, D is the dictionary, How do you know that it is a dictionary? So the elements must be enclosed by open and closed curly braces. Then you have got a key, colon, value. Key, colon, value. Key, colon, value. Now we have got three items. The first item key is name, value is Bob. The second item name is key is age and the value is 25. Third item key is gender and the value is M. So what happens when I print this? I am just printing the items. So name, age, gender is being printed. Suppose I just give it as the values. I'm sorry. So name, age. Okay, suppose I want only the values. You can see that only that Bob 25M is coming. Suppose I want only the keys. You can see that only the keys are being printed. When I say items, both keys and values are included. So you have got a x comma y. And if you want, you can print it x comma y also. Now I have got three lists. I just want to use all the three lists at the same time. So here you can see that I am using a function called zip. So you can have any list. All the list will be zipped as the English meaning. So it will take the first element, second element and third element. I'll run this program. You can see that Bob 25M, Sam 35F, Max 30M. Here you can see that I have got a list, and instead of using the list as it is, I am using the length and I am using an index. I just print the index and the element in that index. So the length of this list is 5. 0. At the 0th index, you have got the element red. In the first index, I have got green. So I am using a length function. And then here you can see that I am giving a range of length. So index and colors of index. This is similar to how we access an element in an array. Similarly, you can access an element in the list using the index. We'll execute this code snippet and see what pattern it's printing. So here you can see that I just print this pattern. So for each line I need to have a for loop. To print this each line I have to use a for loop. That is for I in range 1, 10. And for the elements in each row I am using a while loop. So I ranges from 1 to 9 and j is equal to 1. While j is less than or equal to I am just printing j. So when I is 1, j takes the value 1. When I is 5, j takes the value 1 to 5. So this line will be printed. Suppose I just want to know what is the value of I for each of this row. I can just print it here. Sorry. I comma n is equal to, I have to explicitly say that. So here you can see that if I is the value 5, j takes the value from 1 to 3, 4, 5. The same thing I am doing it using a string. I am just initializing a string and then I'm concatenating the string and printing it. We'll see the output of this code snippet. The same output. Suppose I just wanted to reverse it like this. So here you can see that it is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. But here it is 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Suppose I want to get it in the same pattern as in the previous example. All I have to do is change this output and the string, the order in which the data gets appended. Now we'll run this. That's all. So whenever you have some loops like this, all you have to find out is what is the initial value and what is the terminal value, the execution, and how the data is being appended or concatenated. With this, we have seen the syntax of while, for, and some examples for while and for. Thank you for listening. Keep watching these unboxing Python videos to learn Python in an easier and interesting way. Thanks for watching.